I don't know how to tell you this, but I haven't been working out lately, and it's mostly because um, my arms and my shoulders are very sore with what I think is fibromyalgia, which is just very, very sore, super sore. And it's been like years of this. It's been like 3 years of this. And the job I was doing was fairly physical. And a lot of times during the day, I'm totally exhausted. And I think to myself, there's no way I could be at work feeling this exhausted and having incredibly sore bones and muscles and tendons and do a physical job. And I'm usually so fatigued during the day, I think I couldn't even do like a sit down job because I just want to put my head down on the desk and have a nap. The time when I'm mostly awake is in the evening and very late at night. 1 o'clock in the morning is usually when I'm most wide awake. And this pattern has gone on for quite some time. But even at 1 o'clock in the morning, my body still hurts quite a bit. Why do I have fibromyalgia? Well, in the old days, what I used to do is I would look up Louise Hay. Louise Hay had a book called You Can Heal Your Life, and she gave you a whole pile of diseases, and you would look at the disease, and then she would say, basically, you've got some problem. It's usually like some kind of emotional problem, and she would give you a positive affirmation, so you keep saying that positive affirmation to change the energy in your body. I don't know what it says for fibromyalgia, but does it work? No, it doesn't work. I don't know if it ever worked. She sold a hell of a lot of books, but did it ever work? I don't think so. Is it true that it's... yes, it could be true. It's just that these positive affirmations, for me, don't work. Usually because I forget about them. I'll say, all right, I'll try it, Louise. I'll say the affirmation, and then, I completely slip my mind about Louise Hay and her affirmations, and, I'll just be, suffering with the pain. So it doesn't work just saying the affirmation one time. Other things that I think maybe could be related, I was listening to Eckhart Tolle again today, and I haven't talked about him for a while, but he was the expert at telling you about the pain body, which is in essence an entity, a very negative entity that is attached to you and me and pretty much everybody on the planet. And when it happens to everyone, because even the most calm person, I've had roommates that were like incredibly calm years ago, and out of the blue one day they just snap. And it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So even the most calm person, you can't say they're never going to get possessed by the pain body and become a devil or something. So it's quite possible that I have got pain body attachments that are, making my body painful. Somebody might say, well, it could be trauma from... Usually when they say trauma, it's usually from childhood or it's past life trauma. Or you've got, you're clearing, it's all about clearing. They keep saying you have to clear these traumas, and it can be traumas from your family, your city, your friends, your ancestors, in other words, your parents and their grandparents. And they keep saying, well, you just got to keep releasing whatever keeps coming up. And, some people I know were into talking about doing these clearings and then having, spontaneously crying. And you say, why are you crying? And they say, I don't even know I'm crying. I know I'm crying physically, but it's not me that's making the body cry. It's like it's clearing up old, some people call it density. Some people say if you are doing, what I always talk about here is following Dr. David R. Hawkins and consciousness research and, following the procedure, what he called letting go. Well, if you're letting go of things as they come up, why do they keep coming up? Because you let go of something and you got a whole pile of stuff somewhere that keeps coming up. And you're clearing it. I know I've got something coming up if I start sneezing. If I start sneezing out of the blue, I know that there's something coming up for release because I just, I'll go for long periods of times without sneezing. And then out of the blue, if I start sneezing, it's like something's coming. Something's coming, and I don't normally know what it is, but after some time, I stopped sneezing. In the past, I used to think it was like allergies or something, and I thought it was allergy related. Dr. Hawkins says a lot of these things, whether they're allergies, food allergies, or allergic to trees, pollen, cats, and actually he talked about other things as well, besides allergies that you suffer from. Things like bad eyesight. He said all of these things are coming up to be cleared as you are letting go. And he said at one point he couldn't eat anything. It seemed like his food allergies were so bad. I don't know, maybe he was left with maybe just like clear broth or tea. And he says what you have to do is you have to let it just run its course. Dr. Hawkins was a medical doctor and a psychiatrist, and he had one of the largest psychiatry practices in the United States. In addition, he co-wrote a book with Nobel Prize winning scientist Linus Pauling. So it wasn't just like your average, some people say chiropractors are like, I never go to a chiropractor. No, this guy was a real medical doctor and a real psychiatrist, and he was associated with somebody who won the Nobel Prize. So it wasn't like he was just some fly-by-night guy. So with my sore body, I can only say that it must be something that I just got to keep living with. I mean, even when I go to the doctors, I went to one, and eventually after like a year and a half, finally got my referral to a surgeon. And the surgeon gave me a cortisone shot. I said that the problem was in my right arm, and the surgeon, after all that time, he gave me a shot in the back of my shoulder blade. I thought that was wrong. I thought, you should be sort of in the middle of my upper arm, but anyways. But no, it didn't make any difference. So, I don't take medication for it. It's pretty much just let it run. I mean, even if I, take over-the-counter medications, nothing helps. Last week, someone gave me Robaxa, said, these pills don't work, so I'm of the conclusion that, I'm not the only one that's got this fibromyalgia. It seems like it's a very common thing. So I think what it is just people are clearing. And why is that? Well, you only have to look at the young people. The young people today, maybe not all of them, but quite a lot of them, are way more different than the young people when I was a young person. They're way more likely to be free, and they seem to have so if these young people are more conscious than, my generation, and I'm sure they are, they seem to be so much more conscious, so much more getting their own information from within themselves. It's not like they're, in the olden days, I would read all kinds of books to try and get information. These young ones, they don't do that. They get the information from themselves. It just comes out of them. They talk or they write. So I think there's just a lot more conscious young people, and that is raising the collective consciousness of all the humans on the planet. So as more and more young people are born and they're more and more conscious, us old-timers are having to go along with the collective. And all the stuff that's in us that we never dealt with, because we never even knew about this stuff, this wasn't the information, and we didn't have it within us because I guess we were just more dense than these young ones. But now, as more and more people have more consciousness, this heavy density, this pain, this old trauma, it can't exist as we go into higher and higher consciousness. It can't, because higher consciousness is not pain. It's not trauma. And we're going there anyway, so all this stuff that is of the lower vibration, it comes up to the surface. It's like it just comes up and it needs to be released, and so you have to feel it, because I don't really understand why it just doesn't go, but you have to keep not really doing too much with it. It's just something you suffer with, and then it goes, and then some more comes. So it's the great clearing part of the Great Awakening. It must be so, because if you've ever done any kind of plant medicines, there's usually a purge that goes along with it. So if you've ever done something like ayahuasca, for example, you take that and then you end up, completely purging out your system. You have a really good release of whatever's inside of you. All the toxins come out. So, I don't think that many older people are doing ayahuasca and that kind of stuff. So all this stuff that might come out in an ayahuasca session isn't coming out that way, but it's still coming up, and it's still it has to go, because it's not of the right vibration for higher consciousness. Anyway, Dr. Hawkins said that after, when he couldn't eat anything, nothing but light broth, he continued on, and eventually he found that those things that used to make him sick, whatever he was eating, regular food that was making him sick, eventually he can go back to regular food again. And another time when he's talking about his poor eyesight that he was wearing glasses for, he just said, he just got the intuition, just stop wearing glasses. I don't recommend this, but Dr. Hawkins said what he did is, he would go for a drive, and he would intentionally not bring his glasses. And I think he was supposed to be wearing his glasses, but he drove around, and he got around even though his eyesight wasn't 20/20, and he didn't have his corrective glasses on. I don't recommend this because somebody's going to say, well, the police are going to pull you over, or there could be Well, Dr. Hawkins didn't care. Should you care? Be brave. See how you make out. But he went for, I don't know, 4 weeks or something. And after a certain amount of time, it was only weeks, he said that he didn't need his glasses anymore. He could see just fine.